mentioned. I get why you're doing it. I bet some Cobb faculty teach lessons dripping with disgusting virtues in subjects like acceptance, charitability, love, math, reading, science, and social studies. Are we going to study and acknowledge all of society, all of history, all of current issues? My shibboleth is that I am pro-realism. I went to Cobb schools and I believe in Cobb County. I believe in you all to do the right thing, lowercase r, right thing, the correct thing. Being unaccepting of others, avoiding them, controlling them, harming them, this is not what Cobb County stands for anymore, right? Someone likes something that doesn't align with myopic, culturally entrenched, cis-het, waspy, stereotypical gender roles? A boy likes purple, a girl likes blue? A boy not in pants? What do we do? Are people going to start liking themselves and accepting others, no matter someone's traits or preferences? That's divisive. That needs to stop. Hey, listen, I get it. Look, if parents want to develop stunted understandings of the world within their children at home, they're free to do so. I vote that our classrooms do not. There's only one egregiously edited and exclusionary way, and if we're not going to teach that, then we need to avoid teaching certain topics altogether. Does that sound like actual education? The truth? The best way to create one team to achieve one goal, student success by avoiding the truth? It's discrimination by exclusion. You're creating a hostile work and a hostile learning environment by exclusion. You're sending a message for those people to pipe down, hide, leave, or die. It's disgusting, wrong, embarrassing, and evil. You're not against divisiveness. You're against a togetherness that promotes trust, collaboration, better physical and mental health, safety, and improved academic performance. I'm here so you stalwart majority leaders hear that your actions are not wanted by your constituents, and I want teachers and students who might be listening to know that there are those who are working to make Cobb better and fair and just and safe. Thank you.
As a young Southern Baptist, I was taught the following song. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. As I grew up, I found out that all were supposed to be loved. Christians, members of the Islamic faith, members of the Jewish faith, and even when I adopted my daughter, the Russian Orthodox faith. But sadly, due to COVID and other things that have been going on in our society, our families and children have suffered. And here in Cobb, we have had situations in the past year or two from our students and then from outsiders coming into Cobb County that have caused people to have a lack of respect for self and for others in and out of our schools. Cobb County had a dynamic program, highly effective, called No Place for Hate, regarding teaching, respect, compassion, and empathy for others. Go to any high school boys' bathroom in this county, and at some point, you'll see vulgarities, slurs, etc. written on them. Or listen to middle school and elementary comments on TikTok and Snapchat and see the fights that they put on. Ladies and gentlemen, this school community desperately needs No Place for Hate. We have the ability to build back respect, understanding, and acceptance, regardless of color, ethnicity, religion, physical limitation, and what I'm sure you'll hear tonight, gender. Make Cobb students feel safe, make Cobb's climate better, make Cobb schools a great place for students to be taught and to learn, regardless of color, ethnicity, physical limitations, straightness, or LGBTQ.
Time.
No Place for Hate.
I've lived in West Cobb for 28 years, guiding 6 children through the public schools there, through Harrison, Lost Mountain, and 4 of them spent 17 collective years at Due West Elementary. Is there a child anywhere who has not had a moment in time where they felt they didn't belong? Too tall, too short, not fast enough, not coordinated enough. But tonight, I'd like to speak about my concern for the estimated 7,469 students in the district, statistically 1 or 2 in every classroom, who don't fit in the neat and tidy pink and blue boxes with the straight lines some expect them to stay in for their own comfort levels. My son was one of those children. Children who don't fit into expected roles often know this long before they have the words to describe themselves. My son was 9, and 25 years later, I just asked him the other day, still remembers a slur hurled at him by another student in 3rd grade, this age. These children know deeply how it feels to be shoved into the shadows or shamed by adults or fellow students. This stays with them for life. Reading materials featuring children like mine have been labeled divisive, pornographic, also garbage, and disgusting. My child is none of those things.
30 seconds.
Cobb County School District's vision is one of excellence where all students succeed, quote, unquote. Success means far more than passing from one grade to the next. I implore you to consider the harm that occurs when 7% of the students that attend school in an environment where they feel they don't fit expected norms and their very existence is something to be shunned. Let's aim to be a district where all children truly can succeed,
Time.
not just
That's
93%.
time. Is Erin Elwell speaking regarding inclusivity of CCSD students, followed by Jenny Peterson.
Good evening, I'm Erin Elwell. My family is part of the CCSD community. If I look familiar, it's because I have been a volunteer parent at many of the activities that you have attended. I had one child graduate, I have one who will graduate, and I myself graduated within CCSD. I am also the board president of PFLAG Marietta. We are a chapter of the nation's oldest and largest organization dedicated to supporting, educating, and advocating for LGBTQ+ people and for those of us who love them. PFLAG Marietta has been in Cobb 16 years, and no one's ever had to come speak here. Since 2007, we have supported CCSD families like my own. We have members reflecting elementary, middle, and high school in Cobb County schools. We value inclusivity and believe every child deserves the freedom to learn and thrive. We don't want CCSD to miss the mark. One team, one goal, student success. But is CCSD putting roadblocks for LGBTQ+ students? Recently, our LGBTQ+ kids received a strong negative message. Let's be clear. LGBTQ+ students are not a divisive concept. CCSD's non-binary students are real kids. This is our home.
30
These
seconds.
are our schools. These are our children, not divisive concepts. All CCSD students need inclusion to learn and thrive, especially our most vulnerable populations. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jenny Peterson, speaking regarding the need for affirming schools.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Peterson. I've been to speak to y'all before, but y'all have never answered any of the questions I've asked. So tonight I'm going to instead do something different. I'm going to share with you a couple quotations and my vision for what Cobb County schools could look like. In 1983, Ronald Reagan said, "Our high standards of literacy and educational diversity have been slipping. Well-intentioned and misguided policymakers have stamped a uniform mediocrity on the rich variety and excellence that has been our heritage." I want to share with you all a very personal vision that I have for what could display Cobb County excellence. The school that my students will both be attending in the fall is Wheeler. But I would like to imagine that there'll be a day that I would walk into Wheeler, into the atrium, where there's many flags of countries that represent Wheeler's diverse population and Cobb County's. There's placards about student excellence all over the walls. And whatever that school is named then, I would love to see a placard explaining how Wheeler was once named for a Confederate memorial, a Confederate general. But policymakers and leaders realized that it was wrong, especially after the students came and told them repeatedly. And so they changed the name. And they made it a way to think that you can make mistakes and address those mistakes later. And so I want to just leave you with something from a favorite thinker of mine. He said, "These children that you spit on as they try to change their world are immune to your consultations.
30
They're
seconds.
quite aware what they're going through." That's David Bowie. The future is coming, and my vision is that Cobb County Schools is there. And we're all reading books, including the banned ones. Thank you.
Clay, speaking regarding the need for affirming schools.
Good evening. I just had oral surgery this week, and I'm still having difficulty speaking, so my comments will be short, but this is too important to remain silent. I am a teacher in Cobb County, and I am sad, I'm scared, and I'm worried by some of the comments that I've heard recently about this divisive concepts policy. Public schools should be welcoming of all students, all students. Some students are boys, some are girls, some are neither, some are trans, some are still figuring it out. They all deserve to be welcomed, they all deserve to be treated with respect, they all deserve to be represented in classroom literature. Our students are human beings, not divisive concepts. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Melissa Martin, speaking regarding supporting affirming schools.
I'm a Cobb parent of 2 kids, a 7th grader and a 2nd grader, and I support affirming schools. I send my children to public school in part to learn about how to relate to others and what it means to move within a community of people and ideas. It's been well researched that when schools operate as communities of care, children develop a sense of safety and a sense of hope, which allows them to learn best. This is what I'm advocating for today and what I've been advocating for since consistently speaking before you. Utilizing inclusive and affirming books, activities, events, and being mindful of language used develops community, school connectedness, and critical thinking. I question what is implied when parents say, I don't want my child reading about that, hearing about that, learning about that. What is the that which is not being said out loud? Could it potentially be a classmate sitting next to their child? Might it describe that peer's family? What are kids going to learn? How are kids going to learn how to interact in a community filled with different kinds of people if we don't model it in public schools? What I know for sure today is they are not learning how to respond in a healthy way when they encounter someone who is not like them. Bullying, racism, and hate speech is a huge problem in Cobb schools, and I believe this district is at a crossroads. And this part's really, really important, so you might want to look up. Reinstate No Place for Hate, or implement the alternative program you promised to develop, or you'll be the district that continues to lead in condoning harm. We must model what it looks like to support and relate to others who aren't like us, or schools foster an unwelcoming climate. The Cobb County community won't stand for that. And because we all apparently need a refresher, this fabulous organizational chart that I saved that a previous board member put together, it's the public at the top, us, the board, and the superintendent. Thank you.
Time. Our next speaker is Michael Garza, speaking regarding I support affirming schools.
Hello, I read a wonderful book whose words seemed appropriate for what is going on in our county. I hope that one day this board can understand the psychological trauma that is endured by students when it insists on adhering to policies that enable racism, homophobia, anti-Semitism, and xenophobia in our district. In the meantime, I will share a poem I wrote inspired by this book and my own experiences in school. My shadow in school was beige, the most timid of shades. When it came to speaking in groups, my confidence would fade. I knew it was different, that my silence would lose me friends, but the allyship of others let me know that is not how my story would end. You see, I wasn't born this shade, it was something acquired over time. But I know when it started, when the color of my skin had me accused of a crime. The actions of that teacher and the complicity of the school sure did a job. I wonder if they knew of my childhood innocence that they had robbed. My shadow became white, a color that blends in, it doesn't stand out. If people saw me as quiet and harmless, that might erase all sense of doubt. But as I stand here before you, my shadow refuses to stand pat, as you cater to bigots and marginalized friends at the drop of a hat. What I am left wondering is why hate speech is always free, yet your administration is quick to dismiss speech that validates me. Being gay, being brown, being Jewish, being different is not a sin, and when we all band together, your bigoted policies will not win. You see, my shadow may be light blue, the most calming of hues, but when you come for our community will be coming for you. You think your seats are safe, and on that you're wrong. I'm with the majority of the county that can't wait to tell some of you, so long. Thank you.
Next speaker is Michael Martin, speaking regarding supporting affirming schools.
Good evening. I'm a father of 2 in the district. In my job, I spend a lot of time on employee engagement because my team is most important to our success. Having them motivated, engaged, clear on what we're doing is key, and we work out and are very successful. With the recent laws of the past year and their implementation, my worry is they appear to be confusing and causing apprehension amongst our teachers, which risks having a disengaged team of teachers at best and potentially having them leave their roles at worst. Taking this beyond the well-being of the teachers, concerned that my kids won't be learning in a positive environment and they could miss a chance to be impacted by some talented teachers. I think this is a risk for my family and also the county and our reputation as an excellence in schools. Thank you.
For Susko, speaking regarding the importance of affirming schools.
As a published author on the topic of inclusive literature and inclusive and affirming literature in schools, we've had this conversation before. While I often feel I'm beating my head against a brick wall on this topic, I learned something important about y'all when I talked about moving away from Dr. Seuss for Read Across America to a more inclusive celebration. What did I learn? Y'all love the bandwagon. After that chat, Chris did brag about reading Green Eggs and Ham for a bit, but then the district changed the focus of Read Across America to celebrating a community of diverse readers. I thought it was a win. In reality, it was just the bandwagon you jumped on. At the time, it was popular to make all kids and families feel welcome and represented in the curriculum in schools, so CCSD did it. Back when racism was categorically unpopular, you recognized No Place for Hate schools at public recognition for a decade. The ELA department was going around reading Jabari Jumps in schools and promoting diverse classroom libraries and literature. It was great. It might even be why faculty assumed that you'd only wheel in a Scholastic Book Fair if you wanted them to buy and read books from it. But that bandwagon has passed, and now you claim to have never endorsed it. Back when racism was unpopular, you even let most school counselors lead anti-racism trainings. The real draw was just the bandwagon, not any values you have, and your only goal was remaining on that dais, but at least vital information was shared. Now that bigotry gained popularity, you have a new bandwagon to jump on. Those few parents who never wanted safe, healthy classroom environments are beckoning you aboard. You think they will keep you in power, but they won't. You gerrymandered the maps, but we are the majority. This is not about wanting to teach gender ideology or making white kids feel discomfort. We, the majority in Cobb County, stand for allowing educators to create a safe school climate, teaching kids to navigate conversations about difficult topics, teaching empathy, celebrating differences. As you ride the bandwagon of political popularity, making decisions about who gets to feel safe in your schools and creating a hostile work environment for teachers, we will ensure you're fired. It's just taking us longer because you've cheated your way into those seats with the help of the Earnhardts and Freeman, Mathis, and Gary. The Earnhardts and Freeman, Mathis, and Gary.
Our next speaker is Carly Lyon, speaking regarding affirming schools.
My shadow is purple. My dad has a shadow that's blue as a berry. My mom is as pink as a blossoming cherry. There's only those choices, 2 or 1, but mine is quite different. It's both and it's none. For my shadow's different. My shadow is purple. My shadow loves playing with all sorts of toys, things loved by girls and things loved by boys. I dance with the pinks as they turn and they spin. I play sports with the blues as they lose and they win. Some of my friends think I'm simply confused, but the thing I love most is not having to choose. Some tell me I'm blue. Only blue can be strong, but mom's strong too, so I think they're wrong. Some tell me I'm pink because pink is the most caring, but dad's always crying and loving and sharing. Why can't I love sport and dancing and trains and ponies and glitter and engines and planes? And now it is time for the greatest event. The school dance is here. I'm ready to rock. I'm feeling cute. My mom's made my skirt. My dad's made my suit. I bounce through the door. I gasp as I enter. The room split in 2, right down the center. Blue shadows go left and pink shadows go right. And right in the middle, I'm left all alone. You're blue too. Come on, you're pink. I know you're different, but now you must choose. But I don't understand why. If I cannot be purple, then I cannot stay. I'll leave and go home, I quietly say. My shadow is yellow.
30 seconds.
Blue is not me. My shadow is yellow. Who wants to join us? There's room here to stand. At first, no one moves. There's a hand in the air. My shadow's as brown as a big grizzly bear. Mine is red, mine is silver, mine is green, mine is violet, orange, aquamarine. No color's stronger and no color's weak. Whatever your color, start dancing. Have fun.